This comes from the Real Adventures TV YouTube channel. He's got a big buck coming in. You can just see his heart's getting going. He's excited. Deer's head's turned. He's waiting. Okay, yeah, hard hit. Deer falls right away. This is when everybody starts high-fiving each other. Yeah, it's awesome. Well, while they're all excited high-fiving each other, watch what the buck's doing. Yep, it's gone. In the description of this video, he included that the buck did actually survive and they caught it on trail cam 10 days later. So here's the lesson we got to learn. If an animal drops right away, put a second in it. Almost every animal I shoot, I end up putting 2 in. The second one usually is completely unnecessary and I do it anyway because I don't want to leave wounded game. When that spine gets that little bit of shock, it can cause them to drop and be paralyzed for just a second, and then they can get up and go. I mean, I don't want to pick on anybody, but yeah. We got to talk about this. We got to talk about putting on face paint while wearing hunter orange. I just don't understand this. All right, this is a pretty close shot. I'm guessing around 150 yards on this buck. Whoa, okay. So he missed way low, like way low on this, and it wasn't that far of a shot. He goes, deer runs up. He's gonna set up for shot number 2. He's lucky, man. That deer stopped. That thing probably should have been out of the country. Oh, man. We are way low on this thing. If you're missing 6 inches high, 6 inches low, happens, right? If you're missing by this much, you gotta stop shooting. Something's wrong. Doesn't matter how many times you're gonna pull the trigger, you're gonna keep missing. He's proned out. Way low. Oh. The rest of this video is this hunter just in extreme distress at what has just happened. So a couple things we can learn. One is if you're missing by that much, you gotta stop shooting. Something's very wrong. I mean, you think about it. I mean, he says, dial up that turret a little bit. You know, that's not gonna solve this, right? Like if you're missing by 20 feet at, 100, 150 yards, I can almost guarantee you your optic has been knocked loose, right? Because you don't even have enough elevation adjustment to make that much of an adjustment in your scope. And so that optic, there's no way that optic is on. This one should be pretty straightforward. Deer looks like he's less than 100 yards out, shooting from a blind. They're just waiting for the right moment here. Honestly, when a deer's that close, I'm not gonna worry about, taking a quartering 2 shot, something like that. Okay. Now see, you might think he missed looking at that. You might think, man, whole deer at 100 yards, how do you miss the whole thing? You'd be wrong. This guy's an amazing shot. Let's rewind that. Yeah, look a little bit above that deer. You see some movement? Now watch this in slow-mo. Yeah, he takes out a rabbit. He shoots above the deer, didn't realize there's a rabbit there, and just took it out. I love the small game hunting from this guy. You just wonder, did he go get the rabbit and eat it, or was he too embarrassed at that point? Uh-oh, yep, that's right, we got the goat. This is Randy Newberg. How dare I put him on a video of misses? So he's making a tough shot. So they're very stiff winds. He's not wanting to take the 400, 500 yard shot, and so he does the right thing. He gets in a little bit closer in the wind, but we're on a really steep downhill angle. All right, so they're using backpacks to try to get a stable shooting position here, which backpacks are an awesome tool to be able to use. But for this shot, you'll see how, because he's right-handed and he's leaning over the edge here and he has nothing to support his back to, this is just a tough shot. But because he's awesome, he's Randy Newberg, bam! One shot, no problem. Deer starts rolling down the hill. That's awesome. But 90% of people are going to miss the shot on that steep downhill angle. There are a couple times when you're shooting across that angle and you're going like this, that's hard because you have nothing to rest on the side and nothing at your back. The even harder one is where you're at a downhill angle like this and you gotta shoot across canyon at something else. You don't have anything to rest the front of that gun on. Let me show you a couple things that I always bring with me. Gosh, my garage is a mess. I couldn't find everything I wanted to show you guys. But I am making progress in my garage, by the way. It's been a bomb out there. But look at this. This is beautiful. I had this sad area of my garage. Everything was disorganized. And I turned it into this. I only buy yellow tools. I don't care if it's DeWalt or Stanley or whatever. It's not a brand thing. It's just color. That looks nice. Anyway, I'm trying to organize my garage so I can actually find things. But if I'm day hunting, man, I am going to bring along a tripod like you guys have seen me shooting from a lot recently. And I mean, if you're day hunting, you don't have to worry about weight. I'm also going to bring a bipod. This one's from Spartan Precision, the Javelin bipod, Javelin Pro Hunt. Super solid. Goes in your pocket, and then you just magnet it on to the gun. Pretty sweet setup. Plus, my trekking poles, I have now the Wiser Precision Quick Sticks. It's just a little plastic piece you attach so that your trekking poles become shooting sticks, and it's surprisingly solid. Something like that in a situation like that could totally change the game. Now, I get if you're backpacking, you can't carry everything, but if you're day hunting, I'm bringing all the tools because I don't want to miss a shot. Next video, this one's from the Big Woodsman YouTube channel. All right, so he sees a deer over to the side. It's kind of hard to see. Misses it. Sheesh, 3 times misses with a shotgun. 4. What is happening? And 5. Okay. Yikes. So if you look back when it's going slow, he's shooting right into brush up close. Now, with a shotgun, it's maybe a little bit different, but that's a easy to make mistake is you just have even some little weeds, just anything right in front of you can significantly deflect the bullet from its path. And so you gotta make sure you have a clear shot with no vegetation in the way. Now these other shots that he's missed, I mean, a shotgun is making a tiny group at some of these very close ranges, but it's kind of funny. I mean, he missed like a 5-foot shot on this deer. And that's no hate, by the way. I missed too, but it's just funny to watch. Next, this is coming from the Hun 10 Fool channel, not Hunting Fool. What are we looking at here? I don't even see any animal. Am I blind? What are we hunting? Oh, I see it up top. There's a pig. Yep, big tan pig on the left. Oop. Shoot. Looks like we had a miss. The guy's running. Oop, shot behind it. When those animals are moving, you gotta lead them a little bit, or you're just gonna shoot right behind it. Learn that the hard way. Oh, miss again. Shot low. Ow. There we go, finally. And not a great shot. So a few things. The only time ever that I have missed on a big game animal with a rifle was actually shooting hogs, and it's because I didn't stop the animal. I had just shot an aoudad and nailed it. First shot, no problem. I think it was around 300 yards. And then all of a sudden, these feral hogs come over the hill, and it was just this sudden opportunity. I was like, what the heck? Anyway, so I was just resting. If I remember right, I was just had nothing against my back. And I think I had some shooting sticks that I was rested on up front. So 300-yard shot's a little bit of a hard shot. But the pig was just walking just slightly, and I shot behind it. I needed to stop the animal, take the shot. When they're moving like that, it's just harder to hit them. But especially if they're going quick, you kind of forget all your fundamentals, and you're not pulling the trigger nicely. You're jerking it down every time, and that's why we saw a lot of misses low here. Now, not covered in those videos is a few things that I think we should talk about. So this is like Jim's top 7 list of reasons people miss. Number 1, never, ever allow a gun shop to sight in your gun. Ever. I hear this all the time from new hunters. They'll go, they get the gun scoped by the shop, and they say, okay, got it sighted in for you. And they say, sweet, and they go hunt. And they miss by a mile, and wonder what happened. And I bet I talked to 5 people just this year that did this, that are newer hunters. When a gun store sights in your gun for you, what they mean is they put a laser level in the bore of it, shoot out that laser, and then they're adjusting the scope. It's going to get you on paper, in the ballpark generally, of sighted in. That gun is not ready to go. Similarly, you know, you had your gun last year and it was sighted in, and so now you go to the store, you grab a box of ammo, and you go hunting. But the ammo isn't sighted in for that gun. It's sighted in for different ammunition. And so you have to make sure you have a precise zero. And the only way to do that is take out that gun and go shooting a bunch of times. One other point on that is when a gun is brand new, after having reviewed, I don't know, dozens of guns on this channel, the first group is usually pretty good on a brand new gun without doing anything to the barrel, just straight out of the shop. But shots like 5 to 20 end up going weird. Almost every time when I'm testing the accuracy of a new gun, shots 5 to 20 just go weird. As we're getting that barrel fouled, we have whatever stuff in there, and then it starts to settle down and you can get some good groups from it. So anyway, make sure your gun's broken in and well sighted in. The next one is steep angles, like we kind of showed in this video. No rear rest is a big one. A lot of times people have something to balance on the front, a tree limb, shooting sticks, tripod, whatever. But if you can get something under your back elbow, something back here to really lock you in as the shooter, that's where the shots, you know, past 300 yards, if you can get a rear rest, you're going to up your likelihood of hitting a lot. I mean, 10x. If you have a rear rest, I can just hold so much more steady. So find a way to balance the rear of the gun, or at least your elbow. Next is a cold shooter. Now, cold bore shift, sure, it's a thing, right? Where your barrel is cold, you shoot, and then the next shots, it kind of warms up and will kind of shift a little bit. That happens especially with very thin barrels. But the more common scenario is it's not the gun that's cold, it's the shooter that's cold. And you're excited, you're amped up, it's buck fever, whatever, and you're just not ready. And so if you possibly have the time, dry fire. Just once, you know, but just take a quick dry fire, go through the mechanics of making that shot, then take the shot on the animal. If I have the time to do it, and often I do, it makes a big difference. Then take off your gloves. It's so easy when you have a glove and you're putting your finger in the trigger guard to bump it, to not feel it. The gun goes off at the moment when you're not expecting it. Take off your gloves. And that's also why I love a 2-stage trigger for hunting. It just makes it more clear to me, okay, yeah, we're doing this. And I know when that gun is going off. I'm not going to accidentally bump it. Especially if you have a lot of different rifles with varying trigger weights, trigger pull weights. It's easy for it to go off at the wrong time because you're used to one and then you switch to something a little bit different. 90% of you guys who watch my videos haven't subscribed yet. It'd really help me out if you guys subscribe to the channel so I can hopefully get more videos to you and keep building my small business. Thanks, guys. Bye.